going to move to Siva Kumari, the Director General of the IB program, International Baccalaureate in Switzerland. And Siva, where is the IB program going to go after coronavirus?
Yes, great, Tom. Thanks for asking that question, and thanks to you and Andreas for the invitation. Well, we're thinking about all of that as we speak, actually, because we're designing our strategy for the next 10 years of the IB. And just as a starting point, the IB works across the world in the most privileged of schools and equally with schools that are not privileged at all. So it was great to hear the experimentation going on about labs, et cetera, that the previous speakers spoke about. And our goal is to enable the implementation of excellent learning and teaching in all these very different settings. And this pandemic has reinforced for us that the upholding of high standards is what we need to continue to do. One of the first decisions I had to make when this pandemic occurred is, as a Director General, I had to send a notice out that we're canceling exams worldwide, and that has not been done in 50 years. But based on that experience and where we are now, I think I would recommend that we focus on 3 issues in a post-COVID world. First is about learning in the 4th industrial revolution and enabling great learners. The second is shifting and thinking of teachers as very important professionals, contributing to the future well-being of the economy of the country and the competitiveness of the country. And third is we talk a little bit about assessment and the intersect between artificial intelligence and the age of the internet and where we want to take the learner. So let me just focus on learning in the 4th industrial revolution world for a bit and how we enable great learners. First, I think we should be designing learning for today, and we shouldn't be talking about a tomorrow because that just postpones the problem. And what does focus on today mean? It means it's not just content. And as Orly talked about, it is about the skills and attributes needed to enable great learning. It's not just about knowledge acquisition. So I think what we are going to be focusing on is age-appropriate learning and designing learning environments and policies that engage and evaluate the passion of students at all levels. And how do you bring that passion into education? How do you make the student believe they're working on what they're interested in while learning all of the content and the skills they need to learn to be great humanitarians in the world of tomorrow? We should also not fall into the trap of treating these children as guinea pigs for assessment data. We need to move to learning conditions that use current technologies in powerful ways to assist the learner in developing themselves as a better learner. This means we will have to have explicit conversations with children, but also parents about the knowledge, skills, and attributes that are needed for the 4th industrial revolution, not the age when the parent went to school. So I see parental education as an important part of solving this problem. We should also ask ourselves now, how could technology be better used post-COVID to address the loss of learning that is disparate and based on the socioeconomic status that the child is born into? The loss of learning that students are experiencing, and Andreas talked about the numbers, now based on their socioeconomic status, will have a disastrous impact on their future education and therefore their earnings in future years. So this is something we should seriously be thinking about. Before, we saw schools as places that protected your children, and now we see them as virus-spreading buildings. Parents in real time are experiencing either seriously good or seriously bad teaching in their own homes, and some parents are not able to distinguish between the two. So we have now firmly established that schools are not the only place where learning can occur. Now is the time, therefore, to conceive new forms of schooling and extend beyond the brick and mortar. We want learners to be able to learn with and via technology, but we also want learners to learn with critical thinking skills. So we don't want them to only become consumers of technology or servants to algorithm. We want our students to instead use technology for the betterment of humanity. And we do this now in the IB. We combine the natural curiosity of the child with higher order evaluations and ask them to take on projects that matter to them and that should matter to the world. So we prepare them in a holistic way so that their minds and hearts are engaged in making the change that they want to see in the world. Let me shift to teachers as professionals. I think policymakers really need to abandon short-term politics and focus on how teachers are the key to any country's competitiveness. It's really simple. The country's economic competitiveness depends on how it's educating its current K-12 generations. These are the generations that teachers nurture. Teachers will need to be enabled with the power of technology to help them with diagnostic data to power better learners. That the ambition of teachers entering the profession to teach humans are fulfilled in the working conditions they're given. Much like the doctor who enters his or her profession to heal is provided with tons of tools and diagnostic data to treat. Teachers should be aided with a lot more tools so they're not overburdened with so many tasks. Professional development can help teachers make this change. Technology can be used to enable content acquisition, while teacher serves the role in the classroom that no AI can, provide that human touch, and serve as the adult who encourages the child to be the best learner that they can be. And finally, I'll end with assessment. Assessment, I think, far too often becomes a tool for ranking countries or local schools or local teachers, but we need to refocus. First, how do we use assessment in creative ways to develop a human being who wants to actively change the world? We should not just see this child as a test taker, but we should design assessment for learning that builds on the natural strengths of the child and allows them to improve their weaknesses as well. AI and the exploding world of technology investments, I think, can provide answers here as we design systems to assist the child in developing their knowledge, the skills, and the attributes needed for the world of today. So let's move to a richer set of assessments so that students can demonstrate their learning in multiple ways, in ways of the modern world, through portfolios, through problem solving, not just locally, but internationally, working together, working collaboratively across the internet, and then give teachers a lot more assessment tools in their hands and train them on those assessment tools. And we should be learning from learning sciences and treat this as a real profession. Let's move this profession to what it is. It's a profession that builds the next generation of any country. And we should be deeply invested in how this profession works, given that they nurture 12 years of our children's most formative years. As far as, sorry.
Sorry, we gotta move on. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, but thank